And we're on. Doria Gani, thanks for being on Fitness and Consciousness.
Hi, Ryan. Thanks for inviting me. How are you?
I'm very well. How about you?
I'm very good. Thank you. Very good. Looking forward to our call.
Yeah, me too. So I found you on Instagram, and I don't remember how long ago, but like I saw like the naked yoga. You teach naked yoga, and part of what I look for is I've been interested in yoga since like 1994,
Mm-hmm.
or maybe even before then. But that was when I got my first two yoga books. And so when I'm looking for guests, I'm looking for yoga teachers, but like some of it's almost like they're a caricature of themselves. Like the warrior two in the sunset, and that's okay. Those pictures look cool, but I saw yours, and then I clicked on it, and it said naked yoga and cancer survivor, and that was what really piqued my interest as I'm like scrolling down all these different people. So that's why I really wanted to have you on, is to get your story, to see what that was all about. So I appreciate you coming on to talk about it.
Sure, sure.
So
Okay.
what is how did it all happen? Like what's your story?
Okay. My story is I never done yoga before, so I actually found yoga, or yoga found me. I don't know. After the cancer. Okay. Um, I had cervical cancer in 2004, actually 2009. 2009, I had cervical cancer. I mean, I found out I had cervical cancer. There, when I found out, it was already stage 3, which is very, advanced stage. I had all my test examination. Then it was quite urgent. I had operations. After operations, I had, treatments like chemotherapy, radiotherapy all together, because it was, advanced stage. I had to put in pause my life for actually a year, an entire year, and you don't know what happened. You just wait, and you hope, and you stay positive. That's what I've done. Okay, I couldn't move for 3 months. I spent 3 months in my bed. My mom from Italy flew, to London, where I live, to cook for me, to help me with, all the things and I needed to do. And after that, I tried, little by little, to go back to the real life. And that's how I found out yoga, because I was looking for like a gentle rehabilitation, to go back to the normal life, because my body wasn't the body I used to have. I was super, super, super weak, super, super tired, and just all the treatments I had, especially radiotherapy, makes you so tired. It was even, for me to go to the hospital every day, to get my treatments done. It was such like a huge thing, okay? And so that's how I found yoga. It's like, here in London we have a Macmillan Center, and it's a center where you go if you are affected by cancer, or any of your family or friends are affected by cancer, so they give you support. And I saw they were offering these yoga classes, so I went there and I tried once. And obviously it was very gentle yoga, okay, because like me, other people were affected by cancer. And I tried the first time. I was like, I don't know what is this. I have no idea, but I was curious, so I was like, well, let me go back again. So a week later I went back again, and I tried again. I was like, I just don't get it. It was, for me, it was so new and different from everything else I tried before in my life. And I was like, well, I want to go again. And then I went again, and I was like, well, I still don't really get it, but I feel great. And that's why, you know, I kept going every single week until I fell in love with yoga and the way my body, you know, reacted to it. And it was such a huge thing in my life. And, you know, I started to practice it like regularly. Little by little, my body came back to normal as before, and I was feeling stronger, you know. And then, you know, I felt like ready to take my yoga practice to the next step. And I went to India, where I had my first yoga certification in Goa. And from there, I just got it because I was thinking, like, you know, when you do yoga, you do it, you love it, you feel great, but at some point you just want to know more. Okay, you want to get more into philosophy, more, you know, it's such a huge thing, yoga. Okay, and that's why I had my certification. I never thought of teaching or, you know, having a yoga teacher career, like never, when I signed up. And after that, I was like, yeah, maybe I can do this. You know, a little by little I got into teaching, like private classes, and then into, you know, yoga studios. And after that, after, let's say, how many years? 1 year later, actually, I discovered naked yoga because I went to the Burning Man festival. I don't know if you know. Yes, you know.
I know what it is. Yeah, I haven't been, but I know what it is.
Did you go? You didn't?
No, I haven't been.
Yeah, right. Yeah, you actually have to go. So I went to this Burning Man festival, which is a festival of music and art. Okay, and I was cycling around at 6 o'clock in the morning, and I saw these huge installations. Like, I think it was more than 20 meters tall. Okay, this installation of a woman standing like a mountain pose, and I was like, oh my God, this is so beautiful. And I stopped, I got my camera, took some pictures, you know, the sunrise, like the light was amazing. Everything was beautiful in that moment. And then I saw this girl, she took her clothes off, and photographers started, you know, take some pictures of her. And she was standing like and posing, like in the same pose of the art installation, okay, naked. I was like, wow, she's so beautiful, like amazing, okay. And, you know, I was like, I would like to do that. And I was like, no, I can't do this. No, I can't do this, you know. And I was like, oh, maybe I can do this. And then no, and yes, and no. It was like, and at some point I was like, yes, I want to do this, because otherwise I'm going to regret it, okay? And I don't want regrets. So I look around, and I was looking for a professional photographer because I wanted to have some memories. I wanted to have some pictures of, you know, that moment. And I found this guy with this huge camera and asked him, sorry, would you like to take some pictures of me naked? And he was like, yeah, of course. I was like, it's not just naked, like naked yoga. I was like, yeah, let's do this. So took my clothes off. I went there and I started to practice naked. So that was my very first time. Okay. And it wasn't anything planned. It just happened in the situation, you know, that moment. It's like, I don't know, that looking at the girl, she, you know, she's been an inspiration for me, because I was like, wow, she's so beautiful. It was a great moment for me. And I started to practice naked, and the way I felt in that moment was so liberating, you know, like no fear of being judged. Like, I had no barriers, I had no limitation. It was like total freedom, you know, in the purest state. And I thought everybody should experience something like that, okay? Everybody should feel totally free and totally accepted, you know, by society, and totally okay with their own bodies, because there's so much body shame around, okay? And I think that something like that is so empowering, that people can really put down the barriers, you know, if they learn, if they really push themselves out of the comfort zone and try to, you know, to practice naked yoga. So that's what happened. Came back from Burning Man, came back to London, and I was like thinking of, maybe I can teach this. And I was like, you know, no, I can't do this, because it's fear. I was scared of being judged, like, you know, or maybe people are gonna think I'm a prostitute. Maybe people are gonna think I'm gonna have orgies with my students, because people, you know, this is true, but true and wrong, but people relate, you know, a naked body with sexuality or something sexual, okay, which is not at all. That's why I'm trying, you know, to teach this naked yoga around the world, because I want people not to relate a naked body with something sexual. Okay, it's nothing about being sexual when you practice naked yoga. It's just you, your breath, your practice, your connection, you know, with yourself, and the acceptance that comes with it. Okay, so it took me like few months, let's say 4 or 5 months. And then what happened actually, it was New Year's Eve. I don't like to, you know, celebrate, so I was at home, my computer, and I found a new website for yoga teachers, and it was like, okay, sign up and tick the boxes. What kind of yoga would you like to teach? And I was like, you know, power yoga, yes, I can do this. Vinyasa, bam, 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 ashtanga, yeah, yeah. And then I found this naked yoga box, and then I was like, oh dear, this is the universe is telling me, like, you know, to do this. I'm like, tick. And, you know, in a couple of hours, I got so many emails, you know, people interested all over the world asking me how much I'm charging, where do I teach, if I travel, what time. I was like, oh my God, I really need to do this. And that's how I spent, you know, the following 2 weeks doing my researches around, you know, where I can teach something like that, how can I do this. And that's how I started, you know, like it happened basically. It wasn't anything planned, it literally happened. So the universe, you know, made everything around me, you know, to push me there and teach this thing, because as I said, it's not just the yoga practice, okay, which is amazing, is as well be connected with yourself and with your body, and eliminate the body shame that you might, you know, experience. People are so scared about being naked. People are so scared of being vulnerable, okay, and there is so much more connection with yourself. You really know yourself much more if you practice naked. The more you see yourself naked, the more you accept and you like what you see, you know. And yeah, basically this is my story. And then I started to travel, you know, around the world for my trainings, for teaching. I have clients all over the world: Australia, Los Angeles, everywhere, Italy, everywhere, absolutely everywhere. It's amazing, you know, the way I can connect with people all around the world and share, you know, the love of naked yoga. It's amazing.
Yeah, it is amazing how we kind of end up where we're supposed to be, and sometimes it doesn't make sense at the time. Like, why am I here doing this? And then you look back and it's like, oh, all those things had to happen to put me in this spot. So when you're checking the boxes for different classes to teach, is this for like an online?
This was for like, it wasn't for an online. It was something like a database for yoga teachers
Oh,
around the world.
okay.
That yeah.
And so when you have these students all over the world, are they online students, or you're just traveling to all these places?
Both. We do Skype classes, or sometime I travel to see them. Like I'm gonna travel to Maldives in a week because I have a client there. From there, I'm gonna be traveling to India another week because I have other clients there. Coming back to London, I teach privately. I teach group classes. Everything.
Yeah, that's amazing. From going to like don't even really know about yoga to then just becoming immersed in it in this way. And when so when you're like, what's the response? I would imagine like most people are cool and they understand it and they're respectful, but do you get some like kind of like creepy guys too, like that just
Um, yes, I do. Not as much as I thought. Okay, I had to be honest, I found really, really respectful students and people, that really want to practice naked yoga. Lots of them are naturalists, so they're already confident, and okay with naked bodies. But yeah, sometimes I guess some weirdos, asking for, yeah, like not yoga related, questions. And
Mhm.
I just don't answer. I just don't answer, and that's it. That's it.
Yeah, yeah. When I was looking at your stuff and like following like the links to your videos, that's what I saw. I think that you probably you present yourself in a way that doesn't really invite so much of that. You're going to get creepos no matter what. You don't have to do naked yoga to get the creepos at the class, or
You
But
know,
I think
I thought, like months ago, I thought that people, I got some weird because of obviously the naked yoga and stuff. But I've done some researches, and lots of my friends get some, like, really weird questions around, and like, okay, so it's not the naked thing. It just you get them anyway. It's not because of the nudity. It's not because of the naked yoga thing. There might be sexual, because sometimes yoga, maybe in some position, might be quite sensual, and it's not. So, but I thought about, I thought a lot about that, about the naked thing being the main attraction of these weirdos, but it's actually not, because lots of yoga teachers get the same response from strangers, and so it's not all because it's naked yoga, no. But it took me some time, to be honest, because I thought it was just because of that, yeah, but it's not.
yeah, I think a lot of it has to do with because I've seen like I've said I follow a lot of people and like yoga related on Instagram, and so you see, I mean, everybody, I guess they just kind of like they start where they are, so wherever they are, and sometimes they might get into yoga just because they want to like stretch out. So like to them, yoga is really just stretching, and and then over time they realize that it really doesn't have anything to do with stretching, or it can, but it doesn't have to. You don't have to stretch at all, and you can be a great yogi, I think, and not do any stretches at all. And when I first got into it, I got my um, not quite the Burning Man, but I was at a Grateful Dead concert. I don't know if you ever like listened to the Grateful Dead, or but I was at a Grateful Dead concert in 1994, and I was 15 years old, and there was this Hare Krishna guy walking around with a box of books, and you could give him however much money you wanted for books. So I bought 2 books. I think I gave him like $5 each. I think I gave him $10 or something like that for these 2 books. And then it was all just about like Krishna consciousness. So it wasn't about um, uh, like hatha yoga. No, there was no up dog, down dog. It was all just Krishna consciousness, bhakti yoga, that sort of thing. So um, when I'm looking for people to be on the show, I'm kind of like particular about it, because then I have like this kind of like love hate thing with yoga. So I'm like, I'm always studying it, I'm always reading about it, and I'm always like looking, but then there's part of it that's just like just not it. They just want to be like look good in tights and get a bunch of likes on Instagram, and maybe that's okay too. That's just where they are. So, but when I was looking at your stuff, it was just different. So the naked thing I was, and then I saw like the cancer survivor. So I was like, there must be some kind of story in here. And then I intentionally didn't look into it a lot about your story because I wanted to like find out, the same time as like, the listeners are finding out. And so I knew the direction I wanted to go kind of, but I wanted to also to learn as we go. So um, when you're studying like the philosophy of it, or you're like teaching are you teaching like a lot of the philosophy in your classes? Are you playing? Are you playing like mantras? Are you playing like Indian classical music and that kind of stuff, or what's
Uh,
like the
it's
scene?
not really in my classes. So, I mean, depends, not in the group classes, because people are there more for the physical thing, okay? The philosophy, we do that more in a private one-to-one session. So it's more directed, to what the client uh, wants, okay? But when I teach the group classes, it's more focused on the breath, the ujjayi breath. So because there's not yoga without breath. So my classes are very much focused on the breath. Yeah, that absolutely. But when it comes to philosophy, I think is you need to have more time. You need to have more time because it is something so big, it's so vast that you can't do it in 1 hour or 1 hour and a half, and you need more time. So when someone wants to know more about philosophy, it's more doing one-to-one classes, yeah, than group classes.
And what materials are you like studying currently? Do you like to read the ancient accounts of, or do you like well, yeah, just I guess what is it that you like to study?
I just finished a course on shamanism. I don't know if you have never done any shamanic ritual or stuff, but that is absolutely amazing. I try to do different things, okay? So I recently done this shamanism course. I've done the second yin yoga course. I've done an introduction to Ayurveda. I've done mandala, which is absolutely amazing practice. I don't know if you know mandala yoga, that you rotate on the mat 360 degrees. And you develop your practice following the elements, the fire, the earth. It's just amazing. I take something from here, from there. I don't follow just one thing. I like to constantly learn something different. Yeah.
What was your who are you studying with for the shamanism?
With shamanic Mexican shamanism, two guys from Mexico. It was amazing, amazing, very, very deep connection. They're very much connected with the elements. That was very, very fascinating. Yeah.
Yeah, I've been interested in that since I was pretty young, also, and uh, I don't like call myself a shaman or anything. I'm not one, is why. But are you like do you get like into like the ayahuasca, or is it more like the
They explain us about the medicine plants. That's how they call them, medicine plants. I've been fascinated about this ayahuasca thing for like 2 3 years now. I never done it. I never tried. but I've been asking around friends, watching, documentaries. It's something that I'm really, really attracted to. Um, I don't know if I'm gonna do it. I have no idea. I think you had to totally trust the person who you're doing with, and um, I never found myself in the right situation to do that, because you had to have time. You had to be in the right space with the right people, and too many things that didn't match so far. Uh, but I think such a strong experience can give you lots of answers to to who you are, and what you want, what you're looking for, what you had to do to get wherever you want to go. And I think I might do it one day. It just, you have to plan it, you have to prepare it. I think it's a big thing. Okay, you should really think well about that before doing it with the first person that is talking to you about that, because you have to feel safe.
Mhm.
That's what I think. And I never had the opportunity, now, but I would probably do that. Yeah, I would like to do it in Mexico, in that kind of places, not in London, to be
Mhm.
honest. I would like to be outside in the nature, where you really experience, the greatness of this planet. Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't done it either. I've done a fair amount of psychedelics, including when I got my first yoga books. I was on LSD at the time. I don't do anything now. I don't drink alcohol. I don't smoke weed, or I don't do anything now. And it's been several years since I've done anything. But I used to, and but I never did the ayahuasca or DMT. And it's one thing that I am curious about, because I do the same thing. I'm reading stuff about it, and the documentaries and all that. And if you ever listen to Joe Rogan, he talks about it a lot. And it's like I don't know if it's really necessary. Like sometimes, because it's like, okay, if people do it, like then what? So if you're already, you still have to like do the work. So sometimes I think it's kind of like sold as a shortcut,
Mm-hmm.
but you still have to like come back, and you still have to do your work. And
Yeah,
so I don't
absolutely.
know if, so it's like, but that is like the only thing that's even like kind of tempting to me now. I don't, beer doesn't sound good, nothing sounds good, but that one is like the shamanic thing is interesting. And I think you can get to like these different places, like with breath work, um, and I have these like, did you ever get into like gemstones and stuff like that?
Crystals. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I got some. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Have you heard of Moki shaman stones?
No, never. No.
There are these stones, and they're formed in like the western part of the United States. I think it's the only place where they're made, and they're they have like male and female. So like the female ones are like more round, and the male ones are kind of like flying saucer shaped, kind of. And you can feel like this magnetic pulsing between them if you get a good match. And there's like um, like iron in them and stuff. So it's not just like some, like, you don't have to be like crazy to feel it. I mean, anybody can feel this, like this natural, and it doesn't like attract, like stick together like magnets, and it doesn't just push away. It's more like this pulsing. And if you get a good match between male and a female, then it's strong. You can feel it. And so I've been interested in like crystals and stuff since I was, in junior high and stuff. I had like friends in high school. We'd buy them and we'd give them to each other and trade them. And, like tiger's eye and, these different crystals and stuff, all sorts. But I never had any kind of, experience with them that was all that interesting. I just thought they were cool. And, supposedly they had, these metaphysical properties, which maybe they do, maybe they don't. But so I get these shaman stones, and it was a few years ago or so. And like I go into this place. It was called All My Relations. It's this stone and gem store in Indianapolis here. And I was waiting for this friend of mine to get out of the dentist. So I took her to the dentist. I used to drive a cab, and I dropped her off, and I just went, and I was wanting to go to this place. And I walk in the door to the shop, and I could smell the sage burning. And we used to burn sage when I was, younger. And all the time. I've burned it since I was young. And it was like I just got like transported to this like different place. And I was perfectly sober, but it was like I was somewhere else. And so the lady walks up to me and she's like, "Oh, do you want smudge?" And I was like, "Sure." So she's walking around with the sage bundle, and she's going around to me. And so I'm walking around the store, and I don't know how long I was in there, and I'm waiting for my friend to call me, but I was like in this completely different state of mind. And I was like, I wonder if my phone even works in this dimension. I don't know if my phone will even work. So I was like, I probably maybe I'll just go back to the dentist office and wait for her. And like just before I was like leaving, I saw these on the counter. I didn't see anything else that I wanted to buy. And I saw on the counter by the checkout these weird stones. And I was like, oh, these are interesting. And so I pick one out to buy one, and the lady was like, "Oh, did you pick a male or a female?" And I was like, "I don't know, what should I pick?" And she said, "You should pick a female." And I was like, "Well, what's this?" And she goes, "That's a female." I'm like, "Okay, that's cool. 50-50 shot, but whatever that would happen." But it's like usually, maybe typically, like there's like male and female protective energy. So like female protective energy is more like a hug, where male protective energy is more like I'll kick your ass, kind of like. So it's like this different kind of protective energy. And so that's what she told me to get. And so I get it. I go back to my friend, and she comes out a short time after, and I was Googling the shaman stones, and it was just kind of like blowing my mind, like what I was reading. And I show it to her, and she was into that kind of stuff too. She hadn't seen these before. And I was like, I was just reading that, you should have a male and female pair. And I was like, "Do you mind if we go back to the store?" And she goes, "No, I want to get one too now. This is cool." And so I didn't have time to explain the male-female thing to her, like the stones matching up or anything like that. They were still very new to me. And so, but we get back to the store, and she kind of has the same thing happen. Like I'm walking around and I'm messing around, and she picks out the stone. The lady asks her, "What did you get?" And like, "What should I get?" And she picked out a male. Mm-hmm. And the lady told her that she should have picked out a male because, the protective energy thing. And so I get the male one to match up, and you can feel like, okay, this one matches, this one doesn't really, this one's strong, this one's, and then but by that night, my friend is sending me a message like, "We need to go back to the store tomorrow because now I want to get a female. Like, this is crazy." And so when I was driving the cab, I met some people. I got to be kind of friends with them. And one of them was a blind man. And I had the pair, the male and the female. I didn't say anything about them, didn't tell them anything. I was like, tell me what you think about these. That's all I said. I didn't say stones. I didn't say shaman. I didn't say anything. And I put him in his hand, and he's kind of just like messing with him. He goes, oh, wow, these are for healing. These are for healing. And he's like this, like kind of like straight Christian guy, like not into shamanism or anything like that. No kind of esoteric stuff. He's like kind of like out of the box, kind of like Christian sort of person. And without me saying anything, he's telling me that they're for healing. And he's messing with them for a while. He hands them back to me, and they're really warm. And I was like, oh, wow, these are really warm. He goes, oh, yeah, I really got them going. There was another woman who was like kind of into this kind of stuff, but I did the same thing. I didn't tell her anything about them. She could see, but I handed them to her, and I was like, tell me what you think of these. And she's messing with them for just a couple minutes. And she's like, is this some sort of healing thing? And she's just kind of playing around with them. She's like, get these away from me. This is crazy. And then she's like, give those back to me. I want to. And then she's like messing with them. And she was very heavy set, and she had diabetes. And normally when she would wake up in the morning, her blood sugar was 200. And normal is about 100, I guess, is what you want it to be. Well, a short time later, I let her take the stones home with her. And she like slept by them. And the next morning, she said her blood sugar was, I think it was at 136. So, and I asked her if she did anything different, and she said no. She said she thought it would be high because she was eating like candy and drinking juice the night before, so she expected it to be her normal, which was like 200, but it was 136. The next day, it was like 124, 122 or something like that. So it dropped again. Same thing. She didn't do anything different other than sleep by these. And the next day, I think they were like 117. I put the exact numbers on Facebook. This was years ago. I put the exact numbers that she told me. And she gives them back to me. And then the next day, her blood sugar goes up again, back to 200. And it was like, that was, apparently just because of these stones. And I had this friend, and I didn't even tell him about it, so I don't know if he's going to end up listening to this and hear about it for the first time. I told somebody else about it, but he didn't know. But this friend of mine, I teach at a wilderness survival school. That's where I do my strength and conditioning classes. And the owner of it, he was in, it's kind of weird to be telling the story out in the open like this because I've never told it publicly before. But the owner was in the hospital. He thought he had a kidney stone. And so he's like waiting to pass it, and like days go by, and he's just in agony. And he ends up going to the hospital and found out that actually his appendix burst. So he was walking around like highly septic, like close to death, a lot of pain. So I see he posts a picture of him at the hospital. And so I sent him a message. I was like, oh, I'll bring you my shaman stones tomorrow. And but that night I go to, when I went to bed, I was trying to imagine the stones like going to his hospital room. I was just trying to, in my mind, put the stones next to him. And I kept seeing them like go to his like abdomen and then back on my dresser, like just like that's kind of what I kept seeing in my mind without trying to do that. I was trying to like keep them there. And so the next day I get to him, I don't know, maybe like noon or something like that. The day before, he was taking like Dilaudid, like this really high, uh, really strong painkiller. And he woke up that day and he said that he used the words, I turned to the corner. It's like meaning, oh, he's like on the way to getting better now. No pain medication, no nothing else. Well, he might have maybe still like the antibiotic or whatever he was on, but going from like there was this huge difference between, and maybe it had something to do with that. And he has this friend who like took him some eagle medicine, and they were like burning sage in the hospital room and stuff. And so it was like these stones seem to have, and you know, I could kind of like go on and about different things, but yeah, if you're interested in the shaman stuff, I think you can still order them. They might be, I don't know if it's still legal to gather them, but I think so.
Okay. So basically, let me understand. If you are a guy, you are attracted to the female stone, or is something that you should get just to to complement the energies, masculine and feminine. So I should buy like a masculine stone.
Yes, but
Or
if I would buy a pair. So I don't know if there's any shops around you that would happen to have them.
okay.
I can send you a message later, but the spelling is either Mochi or Moqui. But I can send you a link when we're done. But yeah, I would get the pair, and if you can't like pick out a pair in person, then you can like order them as a pair. But yeah, it's pretty amazing what they can do. So if you're interested in that sort of stuff, which obviously you are, it might be worth it. And they're not real expensive. I mean, I paid like I have. Um, well, I'm going to hit pause for just a second.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we're back on. So I don't know if you can see, like, so this is the male. This is actually looks like four of them together, and this is actually a pretty big one. So
Okay.
people that are just listening, we are on YouTube also, but so, and it's kind of like flying saucer shaped. And then this is the female, and see how it has like an indentation around the outside of it?
Yeah.
So you can, like, I can already feel that. Like, I can feel the energy between them. And it's not, anybody could. It's not like I have some extreme sensitivity or something like that. But yeah, it's pretty amazing. And I guess like the like Navajo, like they're because like from like the Navajo like sandstone formations, and yeah, they kind of they blow my mind. Really, it's pretty amazing how they
I would definitely buy them. I would definitely buy them.
yeah. I'll send you a link and
Yeah.
but getting back to what you do, so when you're practicing the shamanism, what would a practice of that be like? How would you?
That was very much focused on the dance, to connect with the elements. It was very, very powerful. They used to wear all these feathers, to connect with the elements. That was very, very fascinating. You had to paint your face. Very, very powerful, very, you can feel it. It was kind of, when you dance and you hear the drums and everything, you get into the kind of trance, and you really lose yourself, and it's very like, I wouldn't say hallucinogenic, but kind of, without taking anything. But it was very, very nice, very nice. It's they they're teaching you to respect Mother Earth and the elements. And this is something that we don't do. You don't go out and think about the environment. You don't do this, but in places like that, because we were in Goa, so we were like by the beach, so we had the elements of water there, we had palms, so very, very in the middle of nature. It was very powerful because of the place that we were in, amazing.
And like so were they, do they have like ayahuasca ceremonies, or what did they have? Did they tell you their view of it?
No, they didn't do that, because as I said, there was 100 hours, actually 50 hours, 50 hours course. You need to have more time. You need to have more time for that. Yeah. And it wasn't in the program, and I think something that people should understand, that I think most of the people relate ayahuasca with a drug, and it's not a drug. It's not, okay? They have the wrong perception of that. It's a plant. It's a medicinal plant. How they call it, and it's completely different. If you approach, the ayahuasca as a drug to get stoned, that's not what it's for. They should give the right, I wouldn't say instructions, but they should talk about ayahuasca in a different way. And I think the 70% of people who approach ayahuasca is because of they think it's a drug, but it's actually not a drug. Absolutely not a drug. It shouldn't be something forbidden. It should be something that everybody, can do to find maybe an answer, to find that path, to find, peace. Yeah, everybody has different reasons.
Yeah, it sounds like a good place that you're learning from, where they're not really pushing that.
Yeah.
Because I think the tourism to Peru, like a lot of these people that they will call themselves a shaman, but really they just know how to make ayahuasca, and it's not. Yeah, it's I just, when it's sold as like it's like this shortcut, or that people like, I just don't like the way it's presented. I think kind of like what you're saying, it's almost sold as the drug, like you're saying, instead of like this thing people were expecting a shortcut. And like a friend of mine that knows a lot about this stuff, he was saying that like with like we do like sweat lodges sometimes, and I'm actually going tomorrow to a sweat lodge. It's like a Lakota style sweat lodge. And he was like saying, if when you're in the sweat lodge, and I've done several of them now, but like you're already like open, so you don't need more. You don't need that kind of stuff. And he wasn't talking about it as like a judgmental thing. Like it's just more of a matter of fact. Like, yeah, if you're open to it, then if you're open, then you don't really need that stuff. But maybe like for some people, it can really help them out. And I think a lot of people, especially like when they're maybe like facing their death, like, which everybody is. I mean, there's not a single person alive that isn't staring death right in the face, but we pretend that we're not. I'm healthy, I'm young, I'm 39, I'm fine. Well, maybe something really bad might happen any second now, or you get some kind of a disease. And like in your case, it's like, for instance, my my mom had breast cancer and she beat it. She's been clear from that for, I'm not sure how long now, several years now. And my dad died in 2005 from melanoma. And um, it's like something changes, I think, when you're looking at that. So are you finding like the shamanism mixed with the yoga, your kind of yoga is like, because you're like looking at it, you hear, I couldn't imagine like the doctor saying, "Oh, we found cancer," and then so you're like seeing it. Like I don't know what my exact question is, but can you just like maybe like talk about that what that's like to get that news? Like, were you?
Um, I, that was kind of not real to me. It was kind of like it's not really happening to me right now. No, I was frozen. Okay, and that sensation that um, you don't hear sounds around. You just, I don't know, the time stopped. It just, I wasn't scared. Okay, I didn't have like, oh my god. I was like frozen, like completely frozen. I couldn't hear anything, sounds or smells, nothing. I was just nothing, nothing. And um, I, it's something that you don't really think that can happen to you. Um, and what I've done, I just kept it for myself for a few months. I actually didn't tell my family until 2 weeks before the operation, because I thought I'm gonna do this myself. I'm not gonna tell anybody. I can do this like always. I can do anything. Um, but at the end, I thought, if something like that happened to one of my members of my family, I would like to know. And that is the only reason why I told my family that I had cancer. Otherwise, I wouldn't tell them. But it's just, it's something so far from everything that you can think of, that can happen to you. I think it's like, no, it's not possible. You don't feel it like this is happening right now. You don't really feel it. It took me um, months to really accept, maybe, that I was gonna die. Stage 3 is like, stage 4, you're gone. So I was there, and maybe I wouldn't. Maybe this actually saved me, not to get into depression or just surrender. That's like, oh my god, I'm dying. That's it. End of the story. I'm not gonna do anything. Maybe this kind of frozen sensation helped me. Not to feel dead already. Yeah, yeah.
And it was how long after you started your treatments did you find the yoga class? It was during
Uh,
or
I finished my treatment. It was like the end of August, and I started yoga in February, because I wasn't able to move before, not even able to walk. Everything for me was such a huge effort, like physical effort. My body wasn't responding at all, and it was actually unbelievable, how tired, how much tired you feel, and you don't do all the normal things, like even walk from the bed to the toilet. It was such a huge thing for me. Unbelievable. Yeah.
and how long ago is this now?
This was in 2009,
Okay.
so
Wow.
years ago. Yeah, all clear, all fine, all good now. Yeah.
And with the shamanism, are they like teaching like look at the death kind of thing, like, or does it get into that? What you're
No, because it was 50 hours. So I guess it was just an introduction. You know what I mean? 50 hours, just no, no, we didn't go into that. Um, we smoked, like, you know, in a circle with the calumet. That was pretty cool. You know, they have the ritual that you have to, you know, turn it around and give it to the person next to you in a certain way. It was very much about these dances, like all together, you know, and respect the elements. That was pretty much the course about. Yeah, but very, very interesting. Everybody should do that. Everybody should read a book about shamanism. Yeah, it's not black magic, you know. I think most people think about the bad thing, but obviously, as you said, it's like people approach ayahuasca for different reason and found that, you know, not shamans offering you this drug, which is not drug. So it depends who you're dealing with. Okay, people they actually told us actually that it's not, you had to do your researches to find like the good ones, the real shamans. Okay, otherwise you just find fake people that just, and they're maybe very, very good manipulating, sorry, energies, and they're able to let you trust anything. And yeah, so that's why I haven't done my, you know, ayahuasca ritual yet, because I need to do like a proper research. It's not just buying a ticket and going there and do it with the first person who does it. I don't want to do it that way. I don't feel safe. I don't feel protected. So if you don't approach it in the right way, you're going to experience it in the wrong way, and I don't want to do that. You know, I want to feel safe to get the most of it.
Yeah, that makes sense. I would definitely say that, and if the right thing will pop up, if it's supposed to pop up. Uh, like besides like that, like what do you? Is there something like else that you were thinking of digging into? Some other kind of practice, or is like what do you see as like next for you?
Next for me, well, I would like to. Well, I'm actually working on online program, you know, for people that don't live in London and they actually come practice, you know, with me one to one, because I have lots of requests from people, you know, all around the world. So I was thinking of doing, you know, online course. This is gonna be the next step and make it more um, approachable to people, that instead of flying, you know, all around the world. So yeah, this
Yeah.
is something I would like to do. And maybe, well, no, maybe yes, like writing a book about my story, and you know how to help people, uh, especially women, because I think that is where the biggest problem is, like body shame. Don't get me wrong, even guys are very paranoid, I would say, about their bodies. And I didn't know that before teaching naked yoga, you know, but I can tell it's not 50-50, but wow, even guys are very much like, you know, self-conscious about their bodies. And but most of it for me is for women, because we always compare ourselves to the others around. Okay, like, oh, she's skinnier than me, she's nicer than me, you know, her boobs are, you know, bigger than mine, or whatever. Even when you go to the gym, and I see girls going to the toilet to get changed, and this is something that I don't really get, because okay, we're in the female changing room, why you get into the toilet? You know, it's just fear. It's all about fear. People are scared of being judged and being open themselves and to talk about what they really think is a huge thing. Yeah, absolutely.
It's interesting that you put that together. The fear of like saying what they think,
Mhm.
and you're relating that to being naked.
Mhm. Because when you're naked, you are true. What can you hide? This is you, okay? You don't have your clothes that defines you, okay? If you have money, if you don't have money, or maybe what kind of religion you might follow, or nothing. It's just you don't know. You don't know unless you say it, okay? But you are on the same level like everybody else when you're naked. um, yeah, people should be more open. People need to learn how to be more open and maybe trust a little bit more the people around. There is a lot of fear around. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a interesting thing being able to like, just like say what we think, and there's so much like groupthink, and people want to. They think, well, if you're this religion, then you believe this. If you're a Catholic, you're against abortion. So if you're a Muslim, you think this way, and so they want they some force like wants us to be in some kind of a box. We can put you in this box. You're a Catholic, you think this. We'll put you over here. Muslims, they think this, and then or like a liberal, conservative, and it's like if you are if you're a Republican and you're out to dinner with a bunch of like several Democrats, and they're giving their opinions or what they say is their opinions anyway, and they're all agreeing with each other. So you're with, like, say you're with uh, four friends. Those four of them pretty much agree. They're all Democrats, and you're a Republican. How likely is that Republican like to say his view? I think a lot of people they just say what other people think, and then that way they don't get like ostracized. I guess would be the word for it. Is that the right word? They don't get called out for like being different. Like there's so much of this like moral. Um, like warfare or something like that. What like I have like these morals. My morals are superior than yours. Oh, you think this? You like you we're divided up into so many different ways. There's like almost uh, people try to like elevate themselves like by being oppressed. Like sometimes they want to be like identify as like part of this group that's oppressed, and then that gives them some kind of moral superiority, which gives them some kind of power. So they get power from saying that they're oppressed. It's like this a lot of weird things, but I think that a lot of people aren't really saying what they really believe. They're saying what their friends believe, and they're not really digging into. Because what if somebody, like in colleges, like maybe they like really support Donald Trump, and they're with a group and they're all talking bad about Donald Trump. That person's probably not going to stick up for Donald Trump because of whatever else is going on. So that's interesting. Like it kind of reminded me of the story, like the emperor has no clothes. It kind of just popped into my mind. If you know that one, like I guess kind of just rambling, but that you just like kind of put something together for me that was pretty interesting. Being able to like say what you think, and like the fear of like being naked in front of people. And
Yeah, people are scared to be different. and they avoid it just to pretend they think the same things that other people think, but maybe it's not true. They just don't want to have any problem, you know. Maybe they don't feel strong enough to face an argument with someone, because they have different ideas. If obviously, as I said before, I thought about doing it, this naked yoga thing or not, for a while, because I was scared of being judged. And this is for everybody, we don't do something because we are scared of being judged. We don't go because we are scared of what we might find. Lots of people don't travel alone because they're scared. I love traveling alone. It's the best thing that you can do. I always encourage people to do it if they haven't done it before, because they're losing a lot from life. They just want to play safe. But if you play safe, you're missing like the 80% of life. That's why I'm pushing people to get out of the comfort zone, because if you want to play safe, you don't get any excitement. Safe is a straight line. When you get out of your comfort zone, your life is going to be like that. It's so much more excitement. You feel much more alive. It's completely different experience in life. You have only one life. You don't have another one, and maybe if you have, you don't remember that you had another one before. Okay, so it's going to be always one life for you. Just live it. Go there, do that, say that. Just be present. Don't be passive. Be active in your decisions, in your actions. Just do it. Go, say it, touch it. Eat it. Try it. Say no if you want to say no. It's not always saying yes is the best choice, but just take a position. Yeah.
What was your life like before you got diagnosed with cancer? Like what kind of like work did you do, or like what did you think differently, or like what was your?
I was working retail, and it was like working 5 days a week, shifts, so working weekends, working for like Christmas, that you had to do everything for the sales, and then working for it was crazy. I didn't like it. And but I never had I never had a passion in my life before discovering yoga. So for me, it was kind of like passive, uh, life. I'm gonna do this. Yeah, it's fine. It's okay. It's okay. And the only thing that really kept me alive, it was traveling. It was like, if I can't travel, I can die, because that's my oxygen. So this is something that never changed before and after the cancer. Okay. The only difference is, before I didn't have any passion, and after the cancer I discovered yoga and I discovered my passion as well. So thanks to the cancer, I found my path. I could say, yeah, it meant to be. It meant to be. Today I can say I'm happy I went through what I went through, because I'm accepting myself for who I really am, and it doesn't matter if I can have kids, because after the treatments, obviously, I can't have kids. This is something I kind of struggle to accept, because I couldn't feel woman enough. I know it doesn't define me as a woman or not, okay, having or not having kids, but at least before I had the choice to have kids or not having kids. Okay, I've never been particularly maternal person. Okay, if I see a baby and I see a dog, I definitely go for the dog. Okay, so I never thought about, oh my God, one day I'm gonna get married, I'm gonna have 5 kids. Never in my life. Okay, but at least I had a choice. Okay, when this choice has been taken away from me, oh my God, that was like, no. So I really hated myself and I hated my body because I wasn't woman enough. I wasn't good enough. And I thought, oh, nobody's gonna love me because of this reason. Okay, and naked yoga gave me again the love for myself. Seeing me naked gave me again the confidence and the hope, I would say the confidence to 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 know that I am enough and I'm still beautiful and I can have an amazing life, even if I don't conceive anymore. It's okay, it's fine. I'm gonna have a different life, but I always been different. So anyway, it's okay. It's part of my life. Yeah.
Yeah. So it sounds like you're going through it. So you're not married. Do you like have a partner, or do you just like stay single, or what's?
I'm single. It's not easy when you travel around. Um, yeah, I travel a lot, and maybe because as well I'm single because I, I don't know if I'm gonna say this in the wrong way, but I don't have time for, how can I say this in the nicest possible way? Let's say if I can get into a relationship if this person makes my life a better place. Okay, so that is fine. But to be honest, I see lots of people that are really struggling in the relationship and maybe they accept things that they don't really want to accept. And I'm thinking like, why are you doing this? Because they don't want to be alone. Okay. I am in love with myself alone. I love my space. I love the freedom, that I have in my life, that I can buy a ticket now and go somewhere tomorrow. And this is something that, if you are in a relationship, you can't do that. Or, different things. It's always like you had to compromise a lot, and most of the time, not for the right reasons. Or at least this is what I see, in people around me. So as I said, I'm open to a relationship as long as this person makes, of my life a better place to be, which is not easy to find. And I think maybe because I teach naked yoga, I don't think this is something easy for people to accept when you're in a relationship. You have to be very open-minded, you know what I mean? Or maybe do something similar, or kind of, I don't know, but I don't think it's easy to be in a relationship with me.
Yeah, I don't think it's easy to be in a relationship with anybody. I think there might be maybe there's like a new paradigm or something with relationships, because if you think about, so like in the US, it's like more than 50% of marriages end in divorce. Okay, so but before that marriage, how many of the relationships didn't work? Like none of them worked. So there was the girlfriend in second grade, the other girlfriend in second grade. Why didn't that relationship from second grade work out? I mean, it's kind of silly to think about, but you have the girlfriend or the boyfriend in second grade. Man, that's it forever, right? And then 2 weeks later, it's over. It's crazy to think that should even last. But why didn't it? And then there's the other one, third grade, fourth grade, fifth grade, sixth, all throughout none of them worked. So you get to like, you find this person to marry, and you've had 15 boyfriends or girlfriends, and none of them worked out, but this person, it's going to work out in this kind of paradigm, and then it doesn't. And it's, why is it a surprise? But then I see some people, it's like they're almost like maybe overcorrecting. And I mean, I don't really care what people do as long as they're honest with each other, but like the polyamory, like having multiple boyfriends or girlfriends at the same time, and you can have these open relationships, and if people are honest, then I don't really care what people do. But it doesn't seem like that's really the way either. But it seems like maybe there's like some other kind of paradigm where it's not just like a relationship is okay, now I have somebody to like take out all my frustration on, and all these like let all the little demons come out and bother this person, and here's somebody who's, I'll get to know their buttons, and I'll just push these buttons and get this response of, I guess, like what Eckhart Tolle would call like the pain body. It's like the pain body, wants that pain. So for in a relationship, I'm gonna be like pressing your buttons. I'm gonna try to make you mad, because then we'll argue, and that's what the pain body wants. That's what this, yeah. So maybe there's like some kind of new paradigm, because it seems like I'm 39. I've never been married. I have 2 kids, but I see all these things, they don't work, and it's like I wonder like what does work.
Yeah, correct. I think people are too much focused on receiving instead of giving, and I think when you're in relationship, you should spend your time in to understand how to make happy the other person, and automatically you receive that happiness for yourself. Okay, but I don't think this is something that is normally what people experience in the relationship, and that's why we have so many divorces and relationships don't last, because you feel like, oh, she didn't say that to me, or she didn't buy that to me, or he didn't take me there, he did. It's like, what did you do,
Mm-hmm.
to make it happen, to make it work, or what did you give? Is all about taking and pretending instead of giving and make the other person happy.
Yeah, the subtle difference between like expecting someone else to make you happy, which they're almost always going to fail if you have some kind of a problem, which I think everybody does. But if you're like trying to like make the other person happy, you're thinking to them first, then it should happen kind of automatically. And uh, yeah, it's tough, like trying to like figure out, like there's what 7 billion people on the planet, and then like so many of them are like they feel like lonely, and even if they're married they still feel lonely. They like this person that they live with seems really distant, and yeah, it's weird. But it seems like there's like a shift that like in how this whole relationship stuff goes. But yeah, um, anyways, I just realized how kind of long we've been going here. I'm not in a hurry or anything. I could talk with you for a long time. It seems like. Is there anything we haven't gotten into that you were wanting to talk about?
uh, I I can recommend people that have like eating disorders to approach the naked yoga, absolutely,
Hmm.
because it's very important for them to be able to love their body again, to get over the disorders is absolutely important. I can tell you that I have few clients, and there is so much hate, and if they're brave enough because you had to be brave. As I said, you had to get out of your comfort zone, because if you don't put any effort, nothing is going to come, nothing positive is going to come in your direction. Okay, so I'm not saying this is something easy, I'm not saying that, absolutely, but I'm saying when you put the right effort in something, you always get something positive back. Okay, people with eating disorders are pretty much the people that most need to practice naked yoga, because of the nakedness and because of the spiritual, connection that you get from yoga, and the connection that you get with your body and with your breath. So it's like you rediscovering yourself again. Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting. That makes sense, though, to just kind of face the fears. If you're afraid of heights, then you get used to stepping up on one step, and then two, and then three, and then you're at the top of the
Yeah.
Empire
What?
State Building.
Have you ever thought about like why we are so many people and all of us are scared about something different? Okay, we don't have. I might be scared of. I'm scared of spiders. Okay, I can't stand them. and for you maybe it's nothing. Okay, maybe you're scared of, I don't know. I don't know, whatever you're scared of. And maybe for me, it's not. It's because everything's in your head. It's in your head, okay? How many times you've done something in your life that you thought about that, oh my God, I'll never be able to do something like that. Never. And then you've done it and you felt like, oh my God, this is amazing. I feel like, a lion. I felt so empowered by, this experience, because it's everything in your head. You put yourself inside a box. You put yourself there. I give you an example, maybe your experience. Like, have you ever had to go through an interview of a job that you thought, oh, they're not gonna ever take me for the job because I'm not qualified enough, I'm not good enough, blah blah blah. And then you had the interview, amazing interview, and you got the job. And you felt like, oh my God, I can do this. I can do this. So it's everything in your head. You have to push yourself, because if you keep doing the same things, you're going to have the same results. Nothing changes, nothing. Different actions give you different results. And this is something that people need to get in their heads, okay? I see lots of people complaining about what they have or what they don't have, but they don't do anything to change. So what kind of change can they get? Nothing, because same actions will give you the same results, absolutely. But it's much easier to be home and sitting on the sofa and maybe watching Netflix than going to the gym, because you want to get you want to feel better, or study, or something that you had to put effort on it. If you don't change, nothing changes. That's the main thing. People need to put an effort on whatever they do.
Yeah, that makes sense. And um, so I guess we can start to wrap it up now, if you want. And how can people find out more about you? Like, what's your website, YouTube channel? I'll also put a link on the for the on the YouTube or in the description. So, like, whether it's on iTunes or YouTube, I can put a link to your website.
Yeah, my website is doriayoga.com, and the same, you can find me on Instagram, Doria Yoga, Facebook, Doria Yoga, Twitter, the same. I recently opened YouTube channel, Doria Yoga. So if you Google Doria Yoga, you can find my social medias, my contact. And my email is namaste@doriayoga.com. For any questions or doubts or whatever, just say hi. That would be great. Yeah.
Yeah, well, it was really nice to talk to you and hear your story. And yeah, like I was saying before, I mean, I'm not an expert on the naked yoga stuff, but it seemed I could tell that yours, it just seemed different the way that you presented it, and that's what made me send you the invitation. And so, thanks for coming on. And you have open invitation to be on again if you have
Great.
think of something else to talk about, then or more of the same. It's always good to keep digging into our thoughts, and part of it is um, like exploring what we think as we go. So like is like I don't have like a list of 20 questions to ask you. I knew I was going to ask you about the cancer and naked yoga, and then all the other stuff just happens. And then so I get to like press my own thinking. What am I thinking about this? What was my thinking of what naked yoga was, an hour and a half ago compared to what it is now? And I think it is different, even though I saw that you were different anyway. So, yeah, thanks again for being on. And I'll stop the recording and I'll talk to you for a second after I hit stop.
Great. Thank you very much. It was a pleasure talking to you. Thanks.
Thank you.